Shri Ramadhavji, Shaurya Dovalji, and the entire team of India Foundation. First of all, let me congratulate you and let me thank you for. Thank you. Let me thank you for organizing such a large confluence of knowledge. The positive externality of it is when you want to WhatsApp many of your friends and catch up, and you keep doing that over the year, but you cannot do, but you can come here and meet them. So that is a big positive externality, and thank you for that. In meta era, the government should be ready to answer many questions instantaneously. So I feel many of the questions that were raised by Junaid and Chief Economic Advisor and others, maybe we'll be able to get some answers on what the government is doing to prepare India for Economy 2.0. And I have, like a good speaker, I have borrowed the phrase from the title. If we were to address the Economy 2.0, we have to think about Government 2.0 as well. And what are we doing to prepare that? And how are we going to address those challenges? Maybe I will get some answers on the presentation. Let us first of all decide what do we mean by Economy 2.0 for India. Some of it has already started. Today we are adding at least one unicorn every week. And the projections are that going forward, in next 2 to 3 years, we will add one unicorn perhaps every day. And one out of 10 unicorns globally is from India today. And Jayanji will agree with me that private capital has already outperformed the public equity in last 5 to 6 years. How did this happen? This is just one example of government responding to the Economy 2.0. A lot of it is credited to the surge of Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile Trinity. But that didn't happen overnight. Government's push to put this trinity together, we already had the Aadhaar layer, we already had the India stack. But to push this trinity together in game-changing electronic payment system and then provide various platforms for sharing, this became possible. So this is just one example of how government can enable the Economy 2.0 and how government can respond proactively to create the Economy 2.0. Let me first now define Economy 2.0. What do we mean by Economy 2.0 and what will growth look like in Economy 2.0? On this chart, you can see that India's GDP, per capita GDP as percentage of world GDP was somewhere around 18 to 20% in 1960s. And then the surge started going down. And since last 5 years, what we are seeing is we are able to match those levels. Perhaps we haven't matched them, but maybe in next 4 or 5 years, we will be able to match them. What does it mean? If we look at an example from a similar country, exactly we were at the same level in 1960s, and the surge happened, but somewhere around 2000, 1990s, it had exponential growth. This was another example of an Economy 2.0 kind of a condition where a country was responding to it with answers that we are trying to answer today, or the answers that we have created today. This is just another representation of how we compare India and China in terms of the growth figures. So we have defined what Economy 2.0 mean and what Government 2.0 mean. The vision of Economy 2.0 is not possible without Government 2.0, and I'll tell you how. What do we mean by government? When you and I, we travel by train, a ticket collector is as good as railway minister for us. When we go to the State Bank of India, the clerk at the window is the finance minister for us. Whatever happens on that day in that bank with us, we are going to blame it to the finance ministry. We are not going to blame it to that individual. So when state delivers its services, it delivers it through people like me. Right now, I am delivering a service as civil servant for the government. There are 3 million such civil servants only in government of India. If I look at the numbers from states, there are 22 million civil servants who deliver services for the government. And what Junaid mentioned and what Chief Economic Advisor mentioned, the state capacity, Rajya ki Kshamta, these 2 crore people are the state's capacity who deliver anything. And you can see at the top, who do deliberations like us and who decide policies and who design policies, they are very small numbers. They are only 3.5% civil servants who work at that level. A bulk of it, 27 million for central government and another, say maybe 95% of 22 million for state governments are at the level which is closest to the people or citizens. And as you know, almost all policies of this government are driven by the principle of Antyodaya, that how the benefits of this policy will reach to the citizen. And I mean both citizens, normal citizen and a corporate citizen. How will the benefits reach to them? For a corporate citizen, ease of doing business, does it bring more money? Does it bring more business? Does it bring more investment? And for a normal citizen, does it bring ease of living business? Does it improve the human development standard indicators for them? And when we have a government with such policies, how can we ignore the 95% of the service delivery or the state capacity which delivers on it? And focused on these 2 set of civil servants, the government has last year announced a national program called National Program for Civil Service Capacity Building, codenamed as Mission Karma Yogi. In Gita, Karma Yoga is defined as path of action. And for Economy 2.0, what we require today is path of action. When we go to a government office today, or even when some of you were even younger and going to go to the government offices, the usual answer which we all hated was, "Ye nahi ho sakta hai." How do we make it possible from "ye nahi ho sakta hai" to let us try to solve this? The commission has been designed as a overall program where it reports to the Prime Minister's HR Council, and there is a policy body which I represent, the Capacity Building Commission. There is a special purpose vehicle which is also an online platform called Integrated Government Online Training Platform. But I will not go into the details of the commission, but what the commission does and how will it help in achieving the goal of Economy 2.0. See, when we look at the civil servant or a person who is delivering our service, usually they are bound by rules. When you have your conversation with a civil servant, they will quote you a rule, that under this rule, this is possible, or under this rule, this is not possible. But nobody talks about their role, that my role is to make sure that your child receives education. My role is to make sure that your container from Dhaka reaches Chandigarh in 20 days and not 60 days. How do we shift this thinking in the service delivery from rule-based to role-based is one of the basic principles, is one of the tenets of the commission on which we are working. Second, as I already mentioned, that much of the state capacity is not what we discuss and is not what designs the policies. Much of it is what delivers the policies. So how do we make sure that their engagement with their customer and citizen is as good as their engagement with otherwise? And that is where behavioral competencies and mindset, what the Honorable Prime Minister mentions in every speech, is it is not the mind, it is the mindset that matters. And that is what we are trying to deliver through targeted behavioral modules. And how do we bring that attitudinal change in the civil services? Third and fourth are the most important aspects on which we are discussing Economy 2.0 today. We have officially entered the age of artificial intelligence. Today, when I receive an email from someone, my email app suggests me 3 options as response: approved, let us discuss this, or not approved. Because my app knows that this email is seeking some approval from me. Earlier, we used to operate machines and give command to machine to do something for us. Today, machines are commanding us whether you want to watch the next video on YouTube or whether you want to watch next movie from the same genre on Netflix. So how do we prepare our government also? And in the age of artificial intelligence, almost every sector and almost every government function is going to be affected by emerging technologies. For example, when we start discussion on, say, agriculture insurance in next 5 years, we will not be talking to an agriculture economist from the ADB. We will be talking to a drone startup or a GIS mapping agency, that how should we go to farm level with this technology. So every government department is going to be affected by emerging technologies. It will have both the challenges to regulate and the solutions to absorb or adopt. And how do we prepare them so that it enables Economy 2.0's vision? It enables and prepares them for meta era. This is another aspect. And of course, many of us have worked in private sector for many years. And we know that training is a word which we don't bother about because it is taken care. We have to undergo certain trainings compulsory. We have to update ourselves. Yesterday, those who were consulting in, say, ERPs, now they are consulting in some other technology. Yesterday, who were looking at solutions in some other technology, today they are learning the artificial intelligence and related technology. This doesn't happen in government. The civil servant the day they had joined and the knowledge they had carried, there is no mechanism to upgrade that. So if I have received an iPhone, how do I prepare them to operate this iPhone and applications on it is nearly non-existent. I will talk about a bit about the training aspect also. And that is why Mission Karmayogi has several components which will answer to many of the questions that we have raised today. First of all is, as I already mentioned, how do we map an individual's competency so that we can prepare them for thinking from role-based to role-based. Second is, everything is digital, and if you talk to any government employee, all their trainings are in physical form. So training is not, or any knowledge upgradation opportunity is not decided by the content, but by the place. If somebody comes to my office, they will come saying, sir, this training Andaman mein hai, ये training गोवा में है और ये ट्रेनिंग दिल्ली में है, तो मैं अंडमान वाली जाना चाहता हूँ इस साल. So how do you change that? And second, how do you make, in today's world when everything is available on the tap of a phone, how do you make it available to everyone? How do you make knowledge available to everyone on the top of a phone? That is what we are trying through an online platform. Of course, enabling policies and strategic HR related issues, which are policy buckets, that are also part of the work. and creating an institutional structure like the CBC is a policy body and we have several coordination units, and how the monitoring and evaluation of this program happens are some of the key components. I'll give you one example which we use in our work. Almost everybody must have watched the movie Matrix. And we all know that Trinity, when she jumps into a helicopter from a building, she calls the back office, saying, hey, do you know how to fly this helicopter? And within 10 seconds, the back office sends her a program, and she knows how to fly that helicopter. How do we make knowledge available to every individual in government? Today, there is an artificial intelligence solution that is available. How do we make sure that before Infosys adopts it, even government can also adopt it? So, to answer the question of preparedness to meta era, or preparedness to age of artificial intelligence, or preparedness for enabling economy 2.0, we are evolving India's capacity building framework, where we are talking about both the supply side and the demand side. As I already mentioned, on demand side, we have 3 million civil servants whom we have to prepare and whom we have to make ready. On the demand side, we have around 800 training institutions within Government of India, which provide opportunity for learning for civil servants. I will talk about some of those. So everybody has heard about famous Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy in Mussoorie, but nobody knows that there are 800 such training institutions in Government of India, which requires a lot of quality improvement to prepare the civil servants. I'll not spend some more time on this because I have already exceeded my time. But I will come to the most important part, that what are we building them for? We already defined the economy 2.0. We are taking 3 broad lenses. One is, what national priority are you delivering to as civil servant or as government department? And each department is contributing to 1 or 2 national priorities. For example, Civil Aviation Department has a vision of making 4x increase in traffic to 4x, or creating, say, 50 new airports on public-private partnership in next 5 years. Is the department capable of doing PPP contracts? Is the department capable of understanding and engaging with private sector? These are some of the answers that we ask to the departments, and we ask them to ask themselves. Second, in the important lens we already discussed about, is the citizen centricity. Every government department, when they deliver services to the citizen, are you capable in terms of, is your staff capable with adequate attitude and right behavior to deliver that services, and also with enough functional knowledge? Every time when you go to a government department, there is always a form missing, or there is always a signature missing, or there is always a attachment which is missing. Can we make sure that the functional competencies of government employees also improve? And the third and the most important lens, which we already have discussed, is the technology lens. Each government department should be able to prepare themselves to, one, adopt the solutions thrown by the emerging technology, as well as follow the sectoral roadmap. Today, for example, the Civil Aviation Department of the country will have to soon start thinking about how to land drone taxis. Otherwise, there is no economy 2.0, right? So, are you capable of preparing for that? Are you capable of identifying both the challenges and the opportunities that drone taxi or drone delivery provides to the country? And of course, there are many such examples. For example, what happened when government was prepared on the drone policy? The Drone Shakti has unlocked a $1.8 billion, close to $2 billion industry for our drone startups. And Only thing that it required was tweaking with some policies where it is a progressive approach that these are the areas where you cannot fly, everything else is your forte. And these are the areas where you have to inform government, everything else is available to you, go and tinker. Another example is the space frontier. India is one of the cheapest country to do anything in space technology, whether it to fly a rocket, whether it to land a payload on some other planet. But our space sector was not open for our private sector. Today, with the unbundling of space sector, in few years, India is going to unlock a $1 trillion industry for our startups, for Indian startups. So these are some of the examples when government is ready and government is prepared, and what heavy word Junaid used and others used, the state capacity. It simply means that the people who are working in government to deliver the government program are ready with right knowledge, right skill, and right attitude. And this is the last slide where, as I already mentioned, 95% of the government employees are citizen facing, and they are not planning for economy 2.0. They are only delivering the economy 2.0 to the citizen. So their training and their behavioral shift and their mindset change matters the most. I'll show you some of our pilots on which we are already working. Honorable Railway Minister was here before some time. In railway, we are already piloting training of 100,000 railway karmacharis only on interaction with citizen. I will end with one anecdote. We were taking 30 startups before few years in one of the tours in a country outside. There was one startup which was related to space. And funnily, I saw that their name was removed from the list. And I was surprised. I went to the person who was in charge, a very reputed civil servant. And he was very candid to me. And he said, Hemang, I don't understand this technology. And I don't understand the implications of showcasing them there. That is the only reason I have removed it from the list. So how do we make sure that and we are in the technology capital of India, when the technology capital of India goes to the capital of India, they understand it and they respond to it. And when a citizen, like the real Karma Yogi shown, when a citizen goes to the government, whether a corporate citizen or a normal citizen to take services, they get the response. And that is why I am saying the economy 2.0 has to have a very big response from government 2.0. We have already initiated some of the work as under Mission Karma Yogi and many more to come. Thank you very much.